Welcome back to the channel, guys. I want to talk about Jaden and his reconnection with Britney. What does the astrology say? And I want to address this one because I love Brit. I am old enough where Britney was part of growing up. Like, I wanted to be a pop star like Britney. I just was obsessed with her. I went to her concerts growing up. I love Britney. I remember when she had Jaden, when she had the babies. I mean, I remember her being hounded by paparazzi, everything. Like, the whole Britney story arc I have been here for, because I'm that old. So, obviously it was heartbreaking to see her relationship with her boys fall apart because I was there the whole time. I saw, she's not like my bestie, although like Britt, you could message me. I'd be your bestie. But obviously seeing that and how much she loved them and cared for them being taken from her, and then the conservatorship and being forced to work. I mean, I have so many strong feelings on that. If she was as bad as they claim, you wouldn't have been putting this woman into work a month later. But, I don't know. I worked in the counseling field. I was a counselor for a long time. And no one that has that kind of breakdown is being thrown back into work on a world tour for a circus. But anyway, I was really happy to see the connection with Jayden happen again. And she was obviously devastated when her relationship with the boys fell apart. And, as growing boys, they have their own reasons. And I think where the internet, I've seen the Britney stans really like push back, and I've seen the boys take a lot of heat online. I think because the general public doesn't have a history in psychology, there's not really much understanding of family trauma the boys have gone through with all of this, generational trauma, all of it, and what the boys have experienced. And also the boys being in a family home that probably, I imagine, didn't speak very highly of Britney or see Britney as someone that's, they should be around. And then on top of all of that, you also have the complications of them just being growing boys, right? And them going through natural phases with their mother of pushing back and not wanting to listen and not being appreciative. But we've just seen it broadcast across the world. So, one of the things I ask for, and it's never going to make me the most popular streamer on YouTube, it's just what it is to consider them, right? And I like to see, even though I love talking about pop culture and I love all of it, they're young boys that have really grown up in an impossible situation, to be honest. And let's just show them some compassion. So anyway, with that said, I pulled up the transits for his birthday to see what was going on and what might have spurred this. And I was open to pulling it up and it being like all about money and wealth and all of that stuff. And that's not what we're seeing at all. And I was pleasantly surprised. And, I want to share that because the internet has enough negative shit. Like, let's just share a heartwarming thing. And even if he is 18 and there is an aspect of like what the internet wants to say about money being cut off, he's an 18-year-old boy. I don't know. The internet makes it seem like no one's ever like done anything wrong in their entire lives and they've just been freaking perfect. Ain't no one on the internet that wants their entire life broadcast to the world in every text message they've ever sent. I don't know. That's just I'm going to assume. All right. So let's play with his astrology a little bit. Now, the first place I was looking for family and the home is the fourth house. And the one thing that really caught my eye was Venus moving over his Mars and Mercury, his natal Mars and Mercury, and also moving over Vulcan and moving over the South Node as well. So we had this activity of Venus leading up to his birthday, which was September 12th, that signifies really like reconnecting with values. This energy leading up to his birthday, South Node is past, looking at values, emotional roots, connections to the past, connections to family members that he has lost touch with. That is a big theme that we're seeing with the Venus in the fourth house. Now, Venus in fourth house can really represent a desire for harmony in the home. So there could very well have been an aspect of like, I just don't want to fight anymore. Like, I'm old enough to make my own decisions. So I want to try and reconcile. And it doesn't mean it's going to be successful, right? But there is this energy of harmony and taking actions and communicating, Mars and Mercury, taking action and communicating with a parental figure, someone close to him, in regards to like reconnection and emotional roots. Now, during this time, usually what we'll see with this kind of energy in the fourth house is someone really putting their energy into improving their home. But for him, what I'm seeing, especially being 18 and crossing these aspects, is more of like when we look at in the home, it's not literally like improving the home, it's improving relationships, values, Venus, and love, like reconnecting with love in the home. And especially in terms of family contact, wanting this balance, right? And there is a potential with the Venus in fourth house, I'll just say it, for material comforts and emotional comforts. So could we contort that and look at that one little aspect? I want to say it anyway, because I didn't want people to think that I'm biased or anything. Could we contort that one little aspect and be like, see, Ashley, like he's just there for material comfort? I really see as the main driver here is reconnecting with the home, reconnecting with his mom, reconnecting and trying to like rebuild that family home, communication. Um, that's what I'm seeing. So the first thing that my eye was drawn to with the fourth house was like truly, genuinely trying to connect, genuinely trying to rebuild. Now, another interesting thing that probably I don't know if anyone talks about this point, but Zeus, when we look at Zeus and especially Venus, it could be wanting more control over the family dynamics and that energy of like, I'm 18 now, I can start making my own decisions. So, yeah, dad, okay, so you're saying this, or grandpa's saying this, or whoever's saying this, but like, I'm 18 now and I'm going to discover this for myself. I'm going to have that independence. I'm going to have more control over the family home and like his experience within the family home. I'm going to have more of, yeah, taking charge of it. Now, when we're looking at that as well, Zeus there can represent strength, assertiveness, and even ambition in regards to the family. So again, could we look at the flip side of like ambition, connection to mom isn't necessarily a bad thing to have? I mean, she's Britney Spears after all. Yeah, sure. And he's 18. Like, I'm just going to keep saying he's 18. He's an 18-year-old boy. I'm sure it's not lost on him that, you know, if he has, I don't know what he wants to do with his life. I think it was Sean. Was it Sean that was more musically inclined? I can't remember which one is more musically inclined. Sure, but sure, we could say that. But again, there's so many pieces and factors that are pointing to like reconnection and love and emotional roots and communication, communicating with someone you love, your values. You know, I have no doubt, especially with Venus having transited Mercury, his natal Mercury, of, you know, a talk with his mom and being like, this is what hurt and this is what I didn't like. And like, I want to rebuild this if you're willing to do the work too. And there's nothing wrong with a kid, especially an 18-year-old kid, if he brings that to his mom and his mom's like, no, like, and not doing her end. There's also nothing wrong with him cutting ties at the end of the day. So I think the internet just sometimes has to realize like this is a kid. I don't know what you all were doing at 18, but I was not making good life decisions at 18, really. Or was I in university? Yeah, probably not making that great of life decisions. I was like traveling Michigan, chasing like Yellow Card and Fall Out Boy and All American Rejects around, like, if I'm being honest. So one another thing I want to look at is in regards to this chart is, where do we see? Oh, there we go. Am I on? Yes. So his moon. Now, the interesting thing with the moon, let's watch over the coming days after. So the moon it crosses over, transits the Pluto, but within that, it's also moving over his natal Hygeia. So that's like love, health, again, harmony. And then coming up and over, we can see it moving here. Look at Chiron on the 12th. Chiron's retrograde in Aquarius, emotions, feelings. What I'm seeing a lot here is buried emotions, especially with Pluto. We would have all been feeling that around that time. But for him and the way it's impacting his chart, it's like these buried emotions, like maybe he actually, especially with Hygeia, like maybe he feels sick over this. Like this feeling of like, I feel sick over what happened and I want to reconnect. Now, with that as well, Hygeia, it can be healing. Fifth, when we're looking at Hygeia is in the 7th house. Yeah, I just feel like there's this aspect of like it was healing for him to connect. And I feel based on what we're seeing here, especially I hear chicks chirping in the other room. They're driving me nuts. Um what I hear is chicks. What I feel and see with this is that it was like also a healing aspect for him. I think he went into it with like no expectations, and it was very much like I want to connect. I want to go like de-rebel Pluto, de-rebel and like excavate is another way to look at it. The subconscious themes around transformation, control, power, even who had the power, who had control, who was controlling his mom, was his perception of things as a child, were his perception of things true, or was it powered by those that had control, by those that had power? And so there's this like excavation happening in the lead up to his birthday and just after, where there's this like this energy that's really stirring up buried emotions in regards to the home. Fourth house, so much energy in the house in regards to values, in regards to connecting with someone and taking back independence within the home. Hygeia as well, it's creative, a lot of creativity here. Now with the moon, when I look at the Hygeia and the health with the moon in terms of his chart and over looking at overall, I would say the biggest thing for him is feelings around, especially Chiron, vulnerability, rejection, even worthiness showing up. Now, rejection, Hygeia, the moon, Pluto, Chiron. I don't know Jaden, obviously, but the word rejection keeps coming up with all this energy. And we have, an interesting actually is Psyche in the mix as well, which is going to be a transit. That's actually interesting. Let's just see what happens with Psyche. Stays with Chiron. Interesting. Because that's going to be the subconscious. So the moon moves over it. Oof. And that's everyone around September. Like, who wasn't going through that? Emotional wounds, Chiron, a lot coming up from this subconscious. I feel like he's had a lot come up, a lot around power, control, transformation, the home. And I think he has a lot of questions, honestly. That's how I see this energy for him. Yeah. This reads to me an emotional journey of reconnection. Yeah. And then we come up to on the 18th, September 18th, transiting his north node, the moon. Yeah, this for me is a lot of energy, my friends, around like emotional excavation, the subconscious mind in relationship to the home and his values. And I think being a minor, his hands were tied a lot. And it wasn't necessarily his values he had to live by, but like the family values. And so seeing Zeus in there is like taking back control. I'm no longer living as an adult at the mercy of my family's values. I now get to make my own decisions. And my decision is to reconnect with mom. I'd say I always thought Preston, is it Sean Preston would have been the first one to reconnect, but I also believe he's younger. Now my Britney history is going to be challenged. Okay, so next, let's go back to, okay, we're back on his birthday. Where do we want to go? What are we seeing? So another thing that's really interesting for me as we look at his chart, yeah, we have also in the fourth house, Zeus. Yeah. This is a lot of Vesta, third house with the sun. 20. Yeah, this is someone that if we're looking at what he's gone through and why he's starting to reconnect with his mom, guys, I don't see anything nefarious. Like I'm sorry, I don't see anything nefarious. I think it would be better if I did because it's clickbaity and then people are like, "Yes, I knew it. This 18-year-old kid is horrible." But I don't see anything nefarious at all here. Like Saturn, the transit for Saturn bringing maturity and structure. transiting his natal Uranus. I feel like I need my glasses. I'm like squinting. Yeah, like, so what we're seeing is like this, like, maturity and structure moving over Uranus, which is a lot of energy of like independence even, and rebellion, spirituality, coming into who you are. I think what I'm seeing here is coming up into his birthday, his values, the structure he'd been living by, belief systems were all clashing. And I think he had a massive shift in perception. And also, you know, what kind of I feel with Uranus too and Saturn is almost rebelling against family figures. Let's see what happens here. On the 11th, par fortune moves away from Saturn. What happens in the days after? And the moon cross. Yeah. So for me, what I'm seeing here, again, it's just underscoring everything else. This is like rebellion from the structure, the family home, the father figure, Saturn, father figure, rebelling from that, looking for more independence, looking to like all this emotional energy coming to the surface, reevaluating his values, reevaluating the family home, his mom, communicating with someone in the family home, which I feel, and what I looking at this is communicating with his mom, communicating with Britney. Like, this is what I need for this relationship. This is what I want. I want to work on this. And I really believe that this is like genuine him looking to reconnect. I don't know, guys. That's what I see. That's what I see. I'm going to leave it at that because that's what I see. I don't see anything nefarious here. I just see a kid that was dealt a shitty situation his entire life. Likely, you know, things were colored. He was told things, Zeus told things, how he should believe, what he should think, what he should value in the family home. And it was all like he's starting to wake up to the fact that there was like power and control. And he, again, when we're looking at like Pluto, Chiron, moon energy, I think he genuinely just wanted to start exploring that relationship again. And I think the internet needs to chill. I think you all need to chill that are going after an 18-year-old kid, especially if you're an adult. But yeah, and on the 12th as well, Uranus transiting his natal moon. Yeah, I don't see anything nefarious, guys. I think this kid just wanted to reconnect with his mom. That's what I got for you. Let me know what you think. Keeping in mind in the comments, please, that this is an 18-year-old kid and no one is perfect at 18. But this is what I'm seeing. The biggest standout for me, Venus, Mercury, Mars, the moon with Pluto, psyche, subconscious mind, the Pluto subconscious, moving over Hygeia, moving over Chiron, natal Hygeia, natal Chiron, exposing wounds, exposing the family home, dynamics of power and control and influence, and starting to question things. That's what I see. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.